Hello everybody and welcome to my build video for the Stamina Nightblade. So a quick disclaimer before I make this video. The stats on this are significantly higher than any other Stamina Nightblade build videos I've seen at all. I think it's quite a large margin between this and the next in terms of raw stats. But I should mention that although I know the stats will work, I have not played on it very much because I find Stamina a bit repetitive compared to Magic classes. I'm quite well known as the Magicka man. I just happen to have a Stamblade level because I used it for PvE for a while. So I thought I might as well make this build video just to help people get some nicer stats out of their class. In the end, I hope it works out for you. It will definitely work. The way that one of our sets is going to work does 100% work. It's got really good uptime. I just find the class a bit boring to play. But yeah, anyway, moving on before we waste a lot of time. So, our stats. Now, quick disclaimer, one of the sets I'm using is a back bar proc and a front bar proc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly get this bad boy on us. We're going to proc like so. Then we're going to do this. This guy was too late to try and harass us. Bad luck, bitch. And then this is our stats with 4k weapon damage, 40k stamina. This goes up to 21.5k health. Magicka is fine. Magicka sustain is fine. You wouldn't want to go any lower than that, but I think it's alright. And then stamina recovery is 2.4k on the two-hander bar and 2.6k on the stamina recovery. Now remember that with the fully buffed weapon damage at 4k and the stamina at 40k, we also have a bow, master bow, giving us another 300. And with continuous attacks, you can reach up to 5k weapon damage with 40k stamina, fully sustained in both your Magicka and your stamina pools. So really, really high damage. And the crit is also pretty nice, 42.2, 40, give or take, depending how we are. But I'll show you how you get all that stuff in a sec. So, our sets we are using as follows. On the back bar, as I mentioned before, one master bow. This is going to be infused with the weapon damage and spell damage glyph. Now, although infusing that glyph is not actually as good as infusing a different glyph, in the case of this build, it works pretty good. I think it's alright. If I was running a glyph on the main bar, I would actually put the infused on something on the back bar, say stamina stealing glyph, Magicka stealing glyph, disease, whatever you fancy running there. But I think front bar poison works slightly nicer. With that, we are then running 5 bone pirates. This bone pirate is going to be on 1 jewelry and 4 armor, like so, including the shoulder. And then we're running with 5 truth. So with the truth, we're running with heavy body, heavy legs, ring, and then 1 bard on the two-hander. Now, I understand that people may not understand how to proc that, so I'll explain that in a sec. But basically what happens is when you off-balance an enemy, and it's got more awareness these days, you're going to get a very large damage increase, and the rest of the stats on the set are really, really good. And going 5 to heavy is pretty good. So 5 medium to heavy this build is. But that's going to really help get your weapon damage up a lot, kind of free of charge. Now, if you do find you're having problems actually proccing truth, the other set you could quite nicely front bar here is Spriggan. The only thing to note there is that your healing will decrease slightly, so keep that in mind. It's a lot easier and a lot more simplified gameplay. It's just going to give slightly lower overall survivability on the class. But with this sort of stats, you should be fine to use that. So it's up to you whether you use Truth or Spriggan. It doesn't change how you run the rest of your build. Final piece we're going to be running is 1 Doma House. That is the best one piece we could possibly run. It gives us Magicka and stamina, so does our job beautifully up here. And then that way we are managing to get 2 really nice stamina sets, but still get the master bow into the build. And 1 barring, like I said, on the front is probably nicer these days. In the past, with builds like Green Goblin, which I released, you would have seen that I backbarred Cinch instead of the master bow and put a Maelstrom on the front bar. Asylum two-hander is nice, but I really honestly believe I prefer a 5-piece to it. I think you have enough ultimate uptime anyway, but there you go. Front bar trait is Nernhoned, and all of our traits are mixed between Impen and well-fitted. I currently run 3 well-fitted and 5 Impen. Up to you how you adjust that. Again, adjust that to yourself. A lot of the build is customizable to yourself. Glyphs are all stamina. Again, if you're finding yourself one-shottable, you're welcome to run some triglyphs. There's a lot of customization possible here. Weapon damage on 1 glyph on the jewelry, and then 2 stamina regen to help us sustain. The front bar, finally, we're using a poison. This is my favorite. This is vitality draining. This poison is absolute AIDS to fight against. It is so ridiculous because if you put enough in Befoul, it's ridiculously strong heal debuff. So about 50% of the uptime, 40% of the uptime, give or take. We have a 20% heal debuff, and we get 8% more healing, both of which are super nice on Nightblade, which already has Major Defile as well, and lacks healing. So I think this is the best poison. People might like to run vulnerability, they might like to run this, that, or the other. Just look at the uptime before you consider running a poison, because if something is only going for 1-2 seconds, it's really not worth it. Your burst window is kind of over by the time you start. I think this is the best, but run what you're comfortable with in the end, because again, there's that customizability possible. Before I move on to skills, last few things to mention. We are a werewolf. On the back bar, we have that as our ultimate, just for the extra stamina sustain. You don't really want to go vampire when you're running this low health. It's kind of squishy. I only say go vamp if your essential magical recovery is too low, and that's about 900, but we're fine for that. And then our Mundus is the Atronach. We're using that for magic recovery, and our food is Dubious Cameron Phone. Well pronounced, Tom. Dubious Cameron Throne, sorry. And that is going to be for max stam, max health, and stamina sustain. And obviously that is helping us get the Bone Pirate. You do need the Atronach Mundus, unfortunately, otherwise your magic sustain is going to be poop. You can't really get away with dropping it and running a glyph. Doesn't make much of a difference, but I still would suggest going with the Atronach. I think it's slightly better. So, on to our skills quickly. Our skills, this is completely adaptable, guys. If you don't like this skill bar, there's no need to run it. Don't criticize it. Run what you are happy with, because there are so many skill bars with major similarities and tiny differences that a Stam Nightblade can run. This is kind of the nature of stamina, that almost every skill bar, almost every build is close to the same. There's little ways still to tweak more stats out of things, which I like to play with. Hopefully have done in this build, but for the most part, it's a pretty minor difference in what you change in all stamina classes. It's very, very similar. So, on the front bar, I run a gap close. Again, you could run Stampede, you could run Crit Rush, you could run Ambush. God damn these scorpions. Let's get out of there real fast. Then we are running with Surprise Stack. That's going to be our base damage. Fully buffed, that tooltip is anywhere between about 12.5 and 13k. So it is a massive tooltip properly buffed. Rally, obviously, for our burst heal and our Major Brutality. That's kind of a no-brainer for a Stam Nightblade. Then we are running Relentless Focus. A lot of people here would like to run an Execute. I think I prefer Relentless. I think our damage is so high that I haven't really seen the need for an Execute. But again, if you want to run an Execute, you could drop off a Gap Closer. You could drop off Relentless. Drop whatever you like, to be honest. You could drop Shadow Image on the back bar. Just to open that damage potential up, but whatever you prefer. And then last but not least, we're running Fear as our CC. Quick disclaimer about Relentless, obviously that's not only giving us burst after our ultimate, but it's also giving us minor brutality and, minor berserk and minor endurance, which are both really nice buffs for a Stamina Nightblade. So I really like that skill. Some people avoid it, but kind of one of my preferences. Incap, no brainer for the ulti, needs a huge nerf, but whatever, we'll run it. On the other bar, we're then running Shadow Image, that's for kiteability, survivability, and minor maim single target. Poison Injection for our Master Bow, of course, and a really nice dot. You could run the other morph if you do have a problem against Jesus Beam and those sort of builds. Snipe as well, it's kind of nice against, but I think I prefer Poison Injection. The Execute damage does really help up, especially since I don't run an Execute right now. Vigor for our base heal over time. Really strong heal, obviously. Just try to keep that up whenever you can. Shuffle for our dodge chance and snare removal. God save the snares, and Cloak with the crit morph to help us not only proc off balance, which I'll explain in a sec, but also to stay invisible and keep ourselves alive. And then, as I mentioned on the back bar, we're using Werewolf ulti just for that passive regen, so it's about 300 reaching, give or take. So, I did mention the Truth Set. Now, I'm going to go into ways you can proc off balance with this right now. So, when you set an enemy off balance, your weapon damage is increased by 440. There's two big ways of doing that. The first is to go in from Cloak and then cast Surprise Stack. And you'll see that off balance come if you do have the crowd control setting on in your combat and gameplay settings. That's going to instantly give us that damage buff for 10 seconds. The other way of running it is through your CP, which I'll cover in a sec. Either way is fine, and either way is definitely one barrable. Now, the other way that we're going to go into requires roll dodging. And although you're going to have to roll dodge on a two-hander bar, it's really not the end of the world, because open world, there is always scenarios where you're doing that. You're never going to be able to roll dodge on your bow bar every time you want. Maybe when you're trying to escape you are, but when you're escaping you're not going for the burst anyway. So I think it works absolutely fine on the front bar. But as I mentioned, if you're not happy with that, run Sprig on there. It will do a similar job, just not quite as good against Sorks. On to the CP then. So I'm going to start with the blue tree actually, since I just explained that off balance. So 11 in healing. I pretty much always run somewhere between 11 and 27 on all my classes for healing. It's too nice to miss. 72 in Master Arms and 48 are Shattering Blows. There's not really any other way of running this for Tactician. I mean, you could put points in Light Attack, but Any more points in Master Arms is a complete waste, and Shattering Blows scales pretty good against Sorks. If you want, you can move some points from either of those into Physical Weapon for light attack damage, but yeah, I prefer the flat damage. Again, I think it's the way to play Sam Nightblade. Just go for all-out nuke. Well, whatever you want to run. We're just trying to get 120 for this passive here, Tactician. So when you use Roll Dodge to dodge an attack, you set an enemy off balance. And of course, when they are off balance, we're proccing our truth. So that's how we're going to get that. 52 in Precise Strikes. Common mistake to put 51 there. It will scale badly. Put 52, otherwise you're rounding down. That will give us our extra damage with crit. 43 into Mighty for base damage and 4 into Piercing for penetration. We have Major Fracture. You could obviously run a Maul instead of this two-hander that I run at the moment. So I run two-hander Sword. It's not a big difference. Two-hander Sword is better against Sorks and Maul is better against really tanky targets. But either of them will do quite fine. So kind of down to personal preference. To be honest, it's such a small difference that I would just say whichever you RNG on the farm, go with that one. And if you're buying Spriggan, whichever's cheapest, quite honestly. Red Tree, we have 56 into Ironclad for direct damage, 35 into our crit resist, and then pretty normal setup for me, slightly adjusted for the Stanblade, 44 thick-skinned, and then we've upped these two slightly to reach Unchained, 37 in Hardy, and 43 in Elemental Defender. I feel that on a Stanblade, Magicka is slightly more dangerous. There's quite a few Magicka dots that really hurt and difficult to heal them, so that's why I generally stack Elemental Defender over Hardy on the Stanblade. But again, adjust it as you like. Just make sure you're over 120 points for Unchained. It's quite a big stamina save. And also make sure you're over this point here, 75 for Resilient, because that's a really good passive that you should try and run on pretty much every class, unless maybe you're a Sork. Last but not least, 15 in Quick Recovery. Like I said, 11 to 27 in all my healing passives every class. I think the scale's really good. For the early points, it's pretty beneficial, so I like that for the healing. And finally, the Green Tree, we have 52 into Warlord, 19 in Sprinter. The 75 passive here is totally useless, so you don't need to worry about that one. Sprinter is actually really valuable, scales amazingly well, and pretty underestimated by people. You do sprint a fair bit. When you're trying to kite enemies, you're doing that a fair bit. So having a Sprinter to reduce the cost of that is a very noticeable stam save, far more than a couple of % in recovery or CC break or roll dodge would be. So I promise you that's worth running. 27 Arcanist, 37 Mooncarve for our base recovery. Again, we're not missing out on any passives up here. The 120 is pretty nice, but yeah, reaching it is kind of unrealistic. I think you're wasting points to get there, so don't bother with that. And then 39 in Befoul and 56 in Tumbling. Obviously with Befoul, 38 is actually scaling better, but rounds down on the actual tooltip. So when you incap with 39, you can have a 40% heal debuff, and on the Poison 20, if you drop it down, both of those will round down to 39 and 19. So 39 is your sweet spot. Any more is a waste, any less is a waste. And again, we're just trying to get a bigger heal debuff to make life as difficult as possible recovering. At the moment, that CP scale's way too strong. Can easily see it get a nerf next patch during the combat notes, but we'll see. It should do. Who knows if it actually will. Yeah. Something I saw from the chat mentioned that I don't use any tenacity. To be honest, I think when you're running 2.6k regen without Relentless and without resource buff and without anything like that, I don't really think that you need to heavy attack very much. I mean, you do sometimes from stealth, but the difference in return is quite marginal compared to what you would get by putting a few points in here for just base recovery. But remember, that's just me, each to their own. Yeah, whatever. So there we go. I've given you a general rundown of the build. I hope it works out for you. I've tried to keep it as simple as possible. Like I mentioned, there's so many ways you can adapt this build. Oh, I mentioned on the race, Wood Elf is definitely the best in my opinion. Red Guard is not bad. Wouldn't really run anything else. I wouldn't run Orc. Don't think it works on this. But yeah, anyway. Adjust it as you like. There's a lot of customizability on Stanblade. There's not that many options in terms of stamina in general that make a super, super sexy build. And this is kind of the way that I think's nicest for me. I think this gets way more damage than things I've seen out there. I mean, like I mentioned, 4 to 5k weapon damage and 40k stamina. We're hitting hard as a truck. I think this is a sweet spot, but yeah. Adjust it as you like. Good luck with the build. And I don't think I'll be releasing a gameplay build with this